The formal grievance procedure. Stage 1. The teacher should submit a formal written statement of complaint to the head teacher. If the complaint relates to the head teacher, then a formal written statement should be submitted to the relevant service manager. This statement should outline clearly the nature of the complaint and the reasonable redress or the resolution being sought. The head teacher or relevant service manager, as appropriate, will normally convene a normal grievance hearing within 10 working days or otherwise by mutual agreement of receipt of the written statement of complaint. The head teacher or relevant service manager will normally respond in writing to the formal statement of complaint within 5 working days of the date of the hearing. In circumstances where it is necessary for the head teacher or relevant service manager to carry out further investigation, it may not be possible to adhere to this timetable, and the parties concerned should discuss and reach mutual agreement on an appropriate extension of time. This should be confirmed in writing. Stage 2. The appeal. Should the teacher be dissatisfied with the outcome of Stage 1, they have the right to appeal to the Executive Director of Education and Children's Services. A statement of appeal must be submitted in writing within 10 working days of receipt of the response from Stage 1, explaining the reasons for continuing dissatisfaction, providing any additional information relevant to the original complaint and the reasonable redress or resolution being sought. The Executive Director will normally nominate an officer, such as a head of service, to convene a formal appeal hearing within 10 working days or otherwise by mutual agreement of receipt of the written statement of appeal. 3.4. The Executive Director or nominate officer shall respond in writing to the statement of appeal within 5 working days of the date of the hearing. 3.5. In circumstances where it is necessary for the Executive Director or nominated officer to carry out further investigation, it may not be possible to adhere to this timetable, and the parties concerned should discuss and reach mutual agreement on an appropriate extension of time, which should be confirmed in the writing. Stage 3. Appeals and Committee. If the teacher remains dissatisfied with the response provided at Stage 2, they have a right of appeal to the Appeals Subcommittee of the Education and Children's Services Committee. A statement of appeal should be submitted to the Executive Director of Education and Children's Services within 10 working days of receipt of the response from Stage 2. This statement should explain the reasons for continuing dissatisfaction, provide any additional information relevant to the complaint, and reasonable redress or resolution being sought. 3.7. The Appeal Subcommittee will normally meet to consider the teacher's appeal. Notification of the appeal date will normally be within 20 working days of notice of appeal from the employee. The decision of the Appeal Subcommittee will normally be provided writing within 5 working days of the date of the hearing. 3.8. Stage 4. The final decision of the Appeal Subcommittee can be submitted to the Joint Secretaries of the Scottish Negotiating Committee for Teachers through its appeal process, but only if the subject matter of the original grievance relates to the interpretation or implementation of a national agreement promulgated by the SNCT.